Nichols and I'm an education intern at the Palmer Museum of Art. Today we're going to be looking at a piece of art featured in our new Global Asia's exhibition and see how we can create something similar to it at home with materials that you probably already have. The artwork that we will be looking at is a woodcut print by Hiroki Morinoue titled Pure Water. Woodcut is a relief printmaking technique. This means that the artist carves into a surface of a piece of wood. When they apply ink to the surface of the wood and roll it through a press onto a piece of paper, the parts that were carved out show up white and the parts of wood that were uncarved leave the color behind. This work shows a series of these types of prints, all placed next to each other. You can see that the artist spent a lot of time creating textures and used a lot of layering to have different colors overlap. If you want to learn more about woodcut printing, search some more examples online and see how artists all over the world use this technique in different ways. Today, we're going to be using a different printmaking technique to think about layering and texture. The technique we will be using is called frottage, which is also known just as rubbings. Since most of us don't have the supplies at home to create woodblock prints, this is a great way to replicate the look of that with things that you do have. All you need for this project is printer paper and crayons or colored pencils. If you don't have these drawing tools, you could also use a pencil and make your print black and white. Here's how you create patterns using the rubbing technique. You will place your paper on the surface and simply color over it with your coloring tool. You should see a pattern begin to appear. If you don't see a pattern, the surface you are using might not have a texture that is raised enough, so you can try a different surface. Experiment with as many different textures as you can find. You want to fill a few pieces of paper with textures. Try to overlap them in different directions, layer different textures over each other, and use different colors. Here you can see I have a couple sets of layered rubbings. I tried to use different color schemes and layered over different textures with different colors. I also decided to add another element to my panels, and you can do that too. I used markers to fill in some of the areas of each rubbing sheet with lines and shapes. I thought this created an interesting contrast between the textures and the solid areas. Once you're satisfied with what you have, you can cut your rubbings into panels. Try to cut your panels about the same height, but they can be different widths. You can see in Morinoue's piece that some of his panels are wider or thinner than others. Experiment with the order you place your panels in and try to put different colors next to each other to make them pop. Once you decide on an order, you can glue them onto a scrap piece of cardboard or paper, or if you don't have that, just tape them together on the back. Everyone's artwork will look different depending on what surfaces you used, how you layered them, and what colors you chose. This is how mine turned out. Thank you so much for joining us and trying out this project. Make sure to check out the rest of the Global Asia's exhibit either through the virtual tour or at the museum. See you next time.